Retired U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral William Bill Baumgartner is a 1976 graduate of Collinsville High School. While at CHS, Baumgartner excelled in music, science, math, and Latin. He was class salutatorian, president of the CHS Band, team captain of Scholar Quiz, and a member of the All-State Repertory Band. He competed in math and science competitions throughout his high school career and won the state Latin title 3 consecutive years. Preparing for his future, Baumgartner shares how the Coast Guard became a reality.
My path from Collinsville really started, I think, in my senior year in high school. I didn't even know we had a Coast Guard. And in the fall of that year, John Shimkus, a classmate of mine, who was interested in going to West Point, came to me and said, "Hey, there's this cadet from the Coast Guard Academy. He's going to be at our high school the day before Thanksgiving. Will you come with me and we'll talk to him?" And John, myself, and Jeff Luner, another classmate, we all went to go talk to this cadet just to see what the Coast Guard Academy was, or in my case, what the Coast Guard was. After that, I kind of liked the idea of the Coast Guard, and I decided to apply.
In June 1976, he entered the U.S. Coast Guard Academy, where he graduated first in his class, earning Bachelor of Science degrees in Marine Engineering and Electrical Engineering. Upon graduation from the Academy, he had multiple assignments as an officer in the Coast Guard. While serving, he went back to night school and earned an MBA from the University of New Orleans, and then a Juris Doctor, magna cum laude, from Harvard Law School, where he also served as an editor of the Harvard Law Review. During his 33-year Coast Guard career, Rear Admiral Baumgartner held various operational, legal, and logistics positions. As a Rear Admiral, Bill served as the Judge Advocate General, Chief Counsel, TJAG, of the Coast Guard from 2006 to 2010. As the Judge Advocate General, Bill directed the Coast Guard's worldwide legal program with over 250 attorneys. In this position, he was also the federal government's senior maritime attorney and dealt extensively with maritime regulatory law issues. From 2010 to 2013, he served as the 7th District Commander. Bill directed all U.S. Coast Guard operations in the Southeast U.S. and the Caribbean Basin. He directed the efforts of 12,000 Coast Guard members and volunteers charged with the whole array of Coast Guard missions.
I'm Rear Admiral Bill Baumgartner in Florida. And the Coast Guard is responsible for about 1.8 million square miles of water area. Search and rescue, pollution response, commercial shipping. There are people smuggling narcotics, sometimes smuggling terrorists. And here in Florida, this is the most intense place for so many of those missions.
Since retiring from the Coast Guard in 2013, his civilian career has included senior executive positions with Royal Caribbean International and Royal Caribbean Cruises, where he guided operation and maintenance of the world's largest consolidated fleet of cruise ships. Rear Admiral Baumgartner is the recipient of the Legion of Merit Award for meritorious conduct in the performance of services to the government of the United States in the global war on terror. Today, Baumgartner sits on the board of directors of the Seafarers House at Port Everglades, one of the world's leading seafarers' welfare organizations. He is principal of Baumgartner & Associates, LLC, a corporate maritime regulatory consulting firm.
One of my great pleasures when I was the Judge Advocate General, the head lawyer of the Coast Guard in Washington, D.C., was to invite John Shimkus over to the flag mess. He was my congressman at the time. I was still a Collinsville resident on paper, even though I lived all over the world. It was a great time to have lunch and look out the window over across southeast Washington to the Capitol building. 2 boys from a small town named Collinsville, now some 30 years after graduation, are sitting in the flag mess of the Coast Guard, looking out over the U.S. Capitol. It was a feeling that is hard to describe.